Welcome to the Injury Law Pod, the podcast that explores and demystifies the complex world of personal injury law. Each week, Missouri personal injury attorney Eric Bartlett dives into the legal issues surrounding personal injury cases to help you understand your rights and options when seeking justice and compensation for personal injuries. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the world of personal injury law together.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Injury Law Pod. I am your host, Eric Bartlett, 28-year personal injury lawyer. And this is the podcast where we talk about all things personal injury law related. And we are just coming out of June. We are in the celebratory month of July 4th. Obviously, a celebration of the formation of the greatest country in the world, the United States. And how do Americans do that? With fireworks. And we're not alone. We're not alone in the world. Fireworks are used throughout the world in celebration for all kinds of different things. New Year's is a big time for fireworks. And fireworks have a long history. They show that as early as 2 BC, the first fireworks were used in China, as simple as throwing bamboo sticks into fire to hear them crack and pop. So they've been around a long time, and obviously we've come a long way from bamboo sticks and fire. And now we have everything from what you and I use to the commercial grade fireworks. And again, they provide awesome sights, awesome sounds, but with them comes the potential for disaster. And I've seen it in my injury practice. We have had fireworks injury claims, and the statistics bear out that fireworks are, in fact, dangerous. Every year, there are lots of injuries. There are even deaths related to firework usage. So again, June of every year is Firework Safety Month, and obviously they do that ahead of the 4th of July celebration, just as a reminder to everyone that while everybody wants to have fun, there is an inherent risk, there is an inherent danger, and it requires a moment of safety thinking when utilizing something that can absolutely cause serious injury and, again, death. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reiterates in the month of June the safety measures that should be taken when fireworks are being set off. And the statistics show that each year 10,000 people are injured due to fireworks. In 2017, most recent year that they have some more specific information, 12,900 individuals were injured. 8 people died that year. About 50% of all reported injuries are children and young adults, which is not surprising. I can personally attest that as a younger person, I handled fireworks in a pretty careless way. I've engaged in probably violating every safety measure that is put out there for fireworks. And I have suffered minor burns as a result. Luckily, nothing serious. I never knew anybody personally in my life that had a serious injury. I certainly did know people that had minor injuries, but again, in my professional life later on, I have seen some pretty serious injuries result from mishandling of fireworks. Should also be noted, just looking at more of the information that we have, that out of those 50% of children and younger adults that are hurt, 45% of the affected children are under the age of 14, and generally incorrect usage, as well as amateurs attempting to use professional grade or illegal fireworks, have accounted for over 1,000 injuries. Fireworks used in unauthorized areas also lead to the destruction of land and property. There's fires every year. We are currently, as I record this, in more of a dry period. So the risk of fire from fireworks is enhanced this year. So again, it's really necessary, because if you don't think about it and you do use fireworks in an unsafe manner, it just increases the likelihood that there's going to be something come from it that nobody wants, and you can't go back from it. And so again, there's usually in the month of June, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and local fire departments generally release instructions on fireworks safety rules. Unfortunately, largely ignored, but they're out there for a reason. And some of those are, again, all very common sense stuff. But you should always buy and use legal fireworks that are safe for you to operate. Again, never allowing kids to set off fireworks by themselves. Obviously, there should be supervision. Ensuring that teenagers using fireworks equipment are accompanied by an adult and they're following precautions, maintaining a safe distance and or keeping away from the fire off point of a firework, and don't rub or put pressure on any injuries or give any type of painkillers. Instead, you should take someone that's been injured in a significant manner to an emergency room immediately. Again, burns are a very serious situation, and left untreated can result in infection and even greater potential consequences to a person's health. You got to make sure that as an adult, if you're around an activity of fireworks, you've got to be the one preventing others from doing dangerous stuff. And sometimes it requires you to step up and talk and say something to somebody. And again, it may not be a popular opinion. Obviously, a lot of times where fireworks are during the 4th of July, alcohol is involved, and that can obviously reduce people's judgment and carefulness. And again, somebody needs to be in charge of making sure things are being done appropriately. You also have to make sure that you're prepared. If you're going to be shooting off fireworks, you got to remember to have some safety plans in place. You need to have a source of water around in case a fire breaks out. You've got to make sure that you chart escape routes. I mean, I know it's all pretty crazy stuff to think about, but again, if we are trying to avoid injury, serious injury, or again, the worst, death, then these things need to be thought about. And again, the National Safety Council, they put out a very bullet point type list of things to be mindful of. And again, never allow young children to handle fireworks. Older children should use them under close adult supervision. Never use fireworks while impaired by alcohol or drugs. Anyone using fireworks or standing nearby should wear protective eyewear. Eye injuries are a big injury from fireworks. Should never hold a lighted firework in your hands. Again, they're unpredictable and fuses can go quick sometimes. I'm sure if you've been around long enough and have done fireworks, you understand that, because sometimes those fuses, they have no rhyme, no reason. They don't know, they just go. So never obviously light fireworks indoors. Another thing is as well, and this actually is a personal experience. My brother, when we were kids, he had a whole can of firecrackers, and somehow a spark landed in the can of firecrackers that was next to him. The whole thing explodes right next to him. Again, luckily, no injury came of that, but it was certainly an eye opener. You should always use fireworks away from people, houses, flammable material. Again, that just kind of goes back to what I just talked about with my brother, not even thinking right, that having the can of firecrackers next to where he's shooting those firecrackers would be an issue, but it sure was. Again, never pointing or throwing fireworks at another person. And I know these things all seem fun in the moment. Again, I've been there and I've done it. And thank goodness I'm able to sit here today and say, walked away without hurting anybody or hurting myself. Again, lighting only one device at a time, maintaining that safe distance after you've lit the firework, never ignite devices in a container. Sometimes everybody thinks it's fun that you try to blow something up. I know people make their own bombs out of, for example, sparklers. You can make bombs out of those. And I do know somebody that did that. And again, luckily avoided serious injury, but it did blow up on them. They were right there and definitely experienced hearing issues for a while, avoided any serious burns or anything like that. If a firework malfunctions, consider it done. Don't try to relight it or handle it for any short amount of time, because you just don't know. And again, when you're done, it's suggested that you take all those spent fireworks, unused fireworks, you soak them before disposing of them so that something isn't smoldering, and you throw it in the trash and then it catches fire. Again, keeping water nearby, whether that's a bucket or a hose, in case something happens. And again, illegal fireworks, which they're out there, they can be purchased, and you're taking a big risk because they're not meant to be used. That's why they're illegal. And talking about sparklers, those things are hot. Those are one thing that a lot of people feel like they can give their kids because they don't explode. They can hold them in their hands while they burn down. But that is one of the big injury producers for young children is sparklers. And whether people give them to their kids along parade routes or just while they're shooting off other fireworks, they're really potentially dangerous because sparklers burn at about 2,000 degrees. And that is really, really hot. That's going to melt anything that comes into contact with on contact. So, we're talking hot enough to melt some types of metals. So again, they can quickly ignite clothing and they can cause severe burns if the sparklers drop onto feet, legs, things like that. According to the National Fire Protection Association, sparklers alone account for more than 25% of emergency room visits for fireworks injuries every year. And for children under 5 years of age, sparklers accounted for nearly half of the total estimated injuries. So again, there are safer alternatives. There's glow sticks, confetti poppers, colored streamers. And if you're a parent, you just have to, make a judgment on what's appropriate for your child based on their age. And so the whole point of this podcast episode is just as a reminder to take fireworks seriously, because again, they are fun. They can be beautiful in the sky, and the sounds are exciting, but there's a lot of inherent danger with them. And so, just as I close out on this podcast, I'm going to talk about a case that I had. And this is sort of a typical scenario that, a lot of times this is how things happen, which is I had a young mother in her yard with her children, her husband, and everybody was out in the neighborhood shooting fireworks on the 4th of July. And everybody's having fun, doing their thing. She is over in a chair in her yard, just watching all of this. And an errant firework is launched from across the street at a neighbor's property. And that firework hits her in her leg, her upper thigh area, and causes a significant burn to that area. She has to be taken to the emergency room. She has to go through wound care for that burn. I mean, it covered a sizable portion of her upper leg, and eventually it led to a permanent scar on her leg. And so when that happens, what does it look like as far as a personal injury claim? Obviously, I was contacted, and we made a claim against the neighbor who was handling this firework that went wrong. It was the rocket type that you put into a canister. It's supposed to shoot up. The canister got knocked over. The rocket shot straight across the street and hit her. And so when that happens, there is a claim to make for negligently handling the fireworks, not following these safety protocols and procedures that I just talked about. And a homeowner's insurance policy will cover the negligent person. So we made a claim with that person's homeowner's coverage, and we did get a recovery for her based on the serious injury that she had, the medical treatment, and the permanent scarring. And so, this was to some degree a life-changing event for her as a female, going forward, wearing a swimsuit, things like that. That scar was going to show. Revision by a plastic surgeon was possible to some degree, but she's left with a permanent scar there that people are going to see if she wears shorts, if she wears a swimsuit, something like that. So that's a real life example of a bad result from negligent handling of fireworks. And again, I get calls every year after the 4th of July or around the 4th of July. As you all know, fireworks start getting shot usually before the 4th of July. The fireworks tents are already up. I'm recording this here at the end of June. And so I just drove in here today and I saw plenty of fireworks stands. And so people are already out there and they're at it. And so we just have to be mindful that serious consequences can result. I mean, I've seen eye injuries, people losing eyes, things like that. There's hearing loss that can be involved. So listen, enjoy the 4th of July. Again, we're celebrating the formation of the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Love it. And I hope everybody has fun. But please be safe, avoid injury, and that way no one has to call me and a claim doesn't have to be made. So until the next episode, be safe, be well, and if you ever have some serious injury that you believe you may have a claim for, you can always reach out to us. It's a free consultation, and we're happy to talk with you and see how we can help.